I was thinking about, Betty, we had a little chat just before things got going this afternoon, and you're asking me about Indigenous dreaming and that concept, and would the context for me be framed in that way? And I said yes, of course, to a certain extent it most definitely will be. But as I was thinking about that a little bit more, I felt that it's a grand opportunity, really, isn't it, to talk about the continuity, the idea of continuity. We don't own dreaming as an experience as Indigenous people. We may have been doing it for longer than anybody else. We may experience it in different ways, but I'm really interested to know, in terms of your dreams, if you could talk about some that you've realised that are really close to your heart, so some that you've not yet realised, and just in that concept of what dreaming, how dreaming enables you to do what you do.
That's a very interesting question, actually, Deborah. I suppose, looking around the group here, I've lived in times that you don't even know about. I'm 88 years old.
Wow.
And I was born in 1926, which was the Great Depression and also the Second World War, together with a lot of the gadgets we have here today we never even knew of. So in the span of 80 years, the changes that have gone in to one's dreaming, and you have to change because of the fact that the whole world changes as you go along. But I was brought up by a family who, more or less when I was a tot, said to me, never ever forget who you are. The harder you work, the harder you dream, the greater the reward, providing you always are aware of the other person on the other side of the street. As a tot, I thought, oh yes, that sounds good. The philosophy sounds good. It's like a lot of philosophy from your era. I'm not taking your era, but your race era. The elders more or less pass on to you things that somehow stick in your mind. And I was told and given sixpence. A lot of people may have heard this story, but it's the fact that's actually made me what I am today. And my mother and father sat me down and said, there you are, you've earned sixpence, putting out the rubbish bins, doing this, doing that, not for nothing. I had to work for it. And this comes into dreaming about what you would do if you got older. And I was told that if I came across anyone down the street or at school who were not perhaps as affluent as I was, with sixpence in my pocket, mind you, that was a lot of money. And the first threepence I had to share, I think, was the hardest threepence I've ever done in my life. This child was standing next to me, and I was a kid, and I said, do you want to go first? Oh, she said, no, I can't. She said, I have no money. And I thought, oh no, threepence is going to go down the drain. So that's the start of my philanthropy. But the reward I got from that was that girl became my best friend. And you cannot buy friendship, you can't buy respect, and you can't buy esteem. And in my dreaming, and this is where I suppose I started dreaming a long time ago, that I wanted to change the world. I wanted everyone to be on the same level. I wanted everyone to receive everything that I had received from my parents, who were much older than the average person today, but it didn't matter. They brought me up with this caring and sharing. And this dreaming now, I worked very hard. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't come from money, but somehow or other in my dream, I knew one day I would be able to do something that would enable people to come to an art centre or the recital hall or anything like that and enjoy a day that has been given to them for them free. Now, that was my dream of a long time ago, and it's taken me 88 years to get there. But I did achieve that by putting out the Play Me I'm Yours for the pianos, which a lot of people must have played, must have sung, and must, I hope, got a heck of a lot of pleasure out of it. The joy of that dream coming true was one that I perhaps cherish more than anything, because as I looked over the balcony and watched the people milling around the homes that were over there for over a week, I thought to myself, it's lovely to see people together, irrespective of the rainbows. It was so enlightening to me that people were talking to one another.
And how many dreams you must have ignited. Every time I came across someone that was just sitting down to play, whether it was the first time that they'd ever played a piano, ever touched those keys, or whether it was someone that was reliving something that they had begun, a journey as a child to learn piano, but probably there was a disconnect, or someone else that makes a profession for it. It didn't matter at what level. Dreams were ignited right there for that moment. And I think there would be many of us here today that would be so grateful for that experience ourselves, to be able to witness that and to sit down and be able to play an instrument in a public space and to inhabit it in that way. But Betty, I'm interested to know what you might think about this concept of, it's hard to say, as Australians, I mean, what does that mean? Does it mean the people gathered here, Australia being so diverse? But if I can be a little bit general at the moment, what do you feel there is a level of respect for the process of dreaming in Australia? No. And how do we overcome that then? How have you overcome that?
Well, I didn't have a mobile phone, nor did I have an iPad, nor did I not talk to people. And I think that where we have lost contact is that we do not talk to one another. To sit down at a table. The other evening I was having dinner with a friend, and I looked around the cafe and I thought, my godfather, they're all sitting here and playing on their phones. What on earth are they talking about? Why? If I were running a cafe, I would take the mobile phone as soon as they came in and say, put it in here, would you mind, and enjoy your dinner. I bet you've all done it. But that is the loss of contact with people. You must talk to one another.
Do you think that that's inhibiting dreams to a certain extent?
I do really, because walk along the street, walk anywhere, and all they're doing is this, and if they don't get run over, well, they're lucky. But they're not, and that is stopping them from realising there are other people there who do care, and they should be sharing with them. There's nothing greater than coming into contact with somebody and dreaming with them. Dreaming is a wonderful thing, and I think we unconsciously dream of things. In my case, I've worked hard. I don't deny it. I don't regret it, because I think it's made me what it is, what I am, if that's anything. But I just feel that the loss of contact, of going up to someone and saying, are you all right today? How do you feel? And they look at you in stunned amazement. I'll give you a classical example of what I think of youth today. They're going so fast that they haven't got time to dream. And you've no idea how wonderful it is to sit under a gum tree and dream. I haven't dreamt all that much of sitting under a gum tree, but I think in here I've been dreaming for many, many years. And my sole dream is to actually enable people to love one another. To no matter who you are, we're all different. But I feel that I would like to think that I'm a person that anyone can come up and talk to me. Because that to me is my dream, that I am just a human being waiting for somebody to come to me and say, how would I do so and so? Nothing gives me greater pleasure in this world, and this is what I have dreamt about. I didn't go to university. I wasn't able to. It wasn't in our time. I left school when I was 14, and I started work at 15, and I've been working ever since. Yes, I've regretted not having a certificate hanging up telling me I'm someone, and it's taken me 80 years to get over that. But it's what I've had so much contact with some people who consider my opinion of something is worthwhile. You couldn't get a greater feeling of dreaming there with somebody to enable them to continue on their way to achieve their dream. There are so many young people here today who have so many dreams, but they're not quite sure where to go to. So a most important thing in this life to me is that I can dream, and I hope I can dream all the mentoring I can do for young people. You can get to where you are by having respect for one another, having self-esteem. So many children and kids today don't know what self-esteem is all about, and not to do ill to anyone. And this is my dream, is that one day, I suppose I'm dreaming for a perfect world. People will say, well, you'll never get that. Well, I didn't think I'd ever get where I am today if I hadn't dreamt about what I could do or couldn't do.
Betty, I don't think it could be put more eloquently. I think it's the perfect opportunity to invite up our next speaker, because I'd like you to be able to continue those ideas and to share with Andrew. I think there's a lot of courage in dreaming, particularly the moment at which you are prepared to share your dream. I'd be interested to hear from Andrew. I'm not stealing your set of questions, but I'm interested in that concept of the courage it takes to dream with someone else.
Yes, I think that's the trouble, is that my dreaming now is dreaming with somebody else to go forward.
And is there any greater joy?
No, there's no greater joy than that.